It's not looking good. So we're back on this monstrosity. I was told to get some of this Coo-Var rust converter. Apparently a litre of this stuff will do 10 square metres. But I don't know whether you're supposed to water it down or not. I've read the instructions and it says don't thin. So whether that, because it's water based, whether it means to, yeah, water based combined rust converter for spot and spot primer for use in industrial, marine and domestic painting applications. In the preparations it doesn't say anything about application. It doesn't say anything anywhere, but hopefully my phone will ring in a minute from a tame sprayist, Mr. Jake Coombs, and he'll tell me whether I should water it down or not. I got 2 of them just in case, and there was 6 on the shelf, but I thought, well, nearly 16 quid a bottle of this stuff. Before that, so I've ordered a new, what do you call it, whatever that thing is, sender unit, and the little bracket over there that had a hole in it. What else was there? There was something else. Oh, the filler neck, new filler neck as well. What I forgot to order was my fuel tank release thing. I'm going to do that while it's all off, just make life easier. I've whipped one of those off and tightened the adjuster up a bit because my handbrake was shocking on this thing. I thought, well, the what are they called? Shoes would have been worn out, but they've still got loads of meat on them. I haven't done this side yet. Well, I've adjusted it, I haven't taken it off. I might do that just to show you lot, but yeah, that's a different video, we won't look at that. That one might be up before this lot actually, because that's going a lot better than this is. But yeah, so we'll wait to hear from Jakey boy and see what he says about this stuff. Right, so I've just got off the phone with Spray Yoda. Just started doing a bit. He says you don't have to water this stuff down, the older stuff if you did. But you just brush it on and it will go quite a long way because it's quite watery. So just keep brushing it on. And that just converts the rust to something that's not rusty, apparently. So yeah, this will basically be my afternoon until I get bored. Don't get it in your eyes, don't drink it, don't do stupid things with it. It does smell like milkshake, I have smelt it. It is water based, so it's not got a huge chemically smell to it, but yeah. Anyway. Yes, I haven't done that bit because I still haven't welded the hub plate side back in there, so I thought I'd just leave around the outside, but I wanted to get the rest of it done because it's so damp at the moment that it was all starting to flake over again, so I thought, well, get on, do this and then do that another time. So that's that done now, all the way around. I think it should end up all a bit like this, that really sort of dark satin finish almost. Obviously I haven't done that bit, I'll get to that at some point. But, yeah, it goes all weird and green and odd colours like that, and then ends up like a satin black sort of browny sort of colour. Yeah, that's that done, and you can put another coat on where it will be really rusty, which I might do it across that beam and in these corners. Obviously where the tank's sat, I'm not going to be able to get the pressure washer in there, so I'll put it in all the places which we can't get to easily and everything. I've not bothered doing this, the tow bar, because like I said, I think I said it in earlier on, I can just take that off and get it blasted and whatever, but yeah, all the bits you can't get to. I've lathered it on fairly thick. I don't know whether that's the right idea or not, but yeah, it's looking good. I'm going to go have some lunch now and let that dry. Touch dry in 2 hours, hard dry in 8 hours, overcoat time 8 hours. Yeah, something 8 hours. Put another coat on, I think. I don't know, but I'll come down and see what it's like later on. But yeah, that's that for the minute. Big hole there, that whole panel's pretty much rotted. It's gone through down here as well. Over here, rotted out. There, I can nearly fit my fist through that. And the other side probably isn't far away. See what we can do with a welder, but I personally don't think it's worth welding that, because this will be quite thin. You'll then have a hole in the line X, because obviously this is line X, and obviously it needs painting there. The whole of the underside of here is quite rusty, very flaky. So yeah, I don't really know. It didn't have any mud flaps, I guarantee that is why that's happened, because it didn't have any mud flaps. So I've gotten over myself with my little drama I was having about this tub. But what we're going to do, seeing as we can't find one and they're not really readily available, is we're going to cut most of this panel out there in the floor, because there's holes I think it's in that one somewhere, in the corners. In the corners there is rotted right out, so we'll cut probably to there or there, one of the two. Cut that out, put a flat plate in, most likely similar with this one, although what I'm trying to do at the minute is just find where it has gone through, because here there's one thin spot right in the middle there, but you almost want to, and down here obviously, so that panel there will be replaced. This part is fine, but that one's rotted out. So whether what I do is do matching on either sides, and then it looks right, because it's got the ridges in it, and I can't find for love nor money anyone who makes these bottom panels. For the Mark III, somebody makes all the cross members and floor panels. Well, if we had that, that'd be ideal, but for the minute I'm just chopping off all the flaky paint and rust and just finding out where the holes are, because we're going to weld it up. Jake is going to do these parts and weld that in, probably, because I don't have any thin wire and it's not worth me buying it for such a small job. But I'll set you up and time lapse a bit of that and see what other holes we can find. I'm fairly sure the centre part's fine, but it's just these edges. So anyway, let's get on with it. So I've done as much needle scaling there as I can. I've still got across this top piece and obviously the underside of these to do. We wouldn't believe how much stuff comes off it when you do it. And this bottom cross member is literally packed with mud, and it's almost like it's soaked in diesel, because it smells like diesel, but I might be wrong. But I think what I'll try and do now is shimmy that way and then lie it upside down. So that's that on its back. And we'll just do those in there. And I might shimmy it this way a bit towards me because I'll be working underneath that thing. You'll hit your shins on that while it's on the floor, but guaranteed to smack your head on it while it's in the air. Yeah, it's not looking too bad, apart from the rust holes, obviously. So I'm going to have a go now at cutting out the bit that we need to cut out. See how that goes.
Anybody home?
The annoying thing about it is obviously I can't get right in the corners, so I've just somehow jibby that out. Need to get myself a multi-tool really. That'll make life a lot easier. There you go. One bit out. What we'll have to do is flip it over and get out the, because I think what I'm going to have to do is get the bit that's on top of the brace off as well. And yeah, because then it can sit right on top of the brace and take out all the completely rotten parts. A little bit. So I think that's it for today. I've cut out all the bits with holes in apart from that one. I think I'll have to get myself a multi-tool to get around that. And to be honest, at this point, I'm thinking I've cut that bit and I've cut that bit. The seam is right there where they would join. I'm thinking, why don't we just cut the whole way along that line and replace this whole piece as one, because it would be flat. We could get the ridges in it, but there's not much point. And the same with that one. There's only that bit there that's decent metal, but then you've got two bits there, that bit there. That bit's alright, but it's basically in line with the wheels, isn't it? That's what's the problem is because they didn't have a mud guard on. It's fired all the mud in there, because the middle bit is solid, that's fine. I just don't know how much work it would be getting under there, because obviously that sits on here. Don't know, I'll have to speak to Jake, see what he reckons. To me that would make sense, because then you've got solid metal to weld to all the way along. it won't look weird by having, you know, flat, ridged, flat, ridged. Don't know. That's what I think anyway. I don't know why somebody hasn't come up with a replica floor for these, because it's such a common thing that these rot out. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, why don't you put a tray back on it? And it's like, well, I could, but I've bought my fireman's tub that will sit straight inside that, so don't really want to change it. But anyway, this is how far we got so far. I shall update you on the next bit of progress when I get to it. So back again this morning. What I'm going to do is wire wheel it off with one of these, the wire wheel and grinder. So by the end of this bed I'm going to look like a pin cushion, and then we're going to put a little Coo-Var on it. So my battery died, but now that's whizzy wheeled off. It's all shiny. I'm going to put a bit more Coo-Var on it. And I've only done half because I don't know how much of this I've got left, really. Well, I know how much I've got left, but I don't know how far it's going to go. So for the minute, I'll only do half because this will dry off anyway. And it's going to be nice doing this because there's not going to be all the stuff in the way like there was on the chassis. Note that this will prevent it from rusting any further, which will be good because we don't like rust. I don't know why they don't galvanise tubs and chassis, because they spend their life in mud and everything, so kind of makes sense too. But then I suppose if they made stuff last forever, they'd never sell any more of them, would they? Which I think they've probably made them not as strong and reliable as the original Hiluxes. Because if you remember, I don't know when it was on Top Gear they did it, but they had a Hilux. I don't know whether it was a Mark 3 or a Mark 4, something like that. They had one and abused it a lot. I think Colin Furze has also abused his quite a bit as well, setting fireworks and rockets and everything off from the back of it, you know, as you do. I don't quite think I'll be doing that with this one. Well, I might do. I suppose I could do that when I get to 10,000 subscribers, maybe. Is set a load of fireworks off on the back of my truck. But I think that would kind of be doing what Colin did, really, because I think his was 100,000 or something like that. But I don't know what it was, but yeah, I'll carry on doing this and see what it looks like afterwards. What's your plan for this then?
So we're going to have to use what I call CAD design, cardboard aided design. We're going to make a whole piece of panel to go in here, and we're going to repair there. We're going to make another one for there, and all in here, because buying a quarter panel is very expensive, and we're trying to save money.
Are we going to respray the whole thing?
We're going to respray the whole thing on the outside. We'll need to cut plates where you have removed the floor, and we'll have to make those to fit and replace and remove any other bits of nastiness that we come across, and do a very good clean up, and also a lot of rust treatment.
And that's with that Coo-Var stuff that you suggested.
That's the Coo-Var, yes. It's good stuff. I highly recommend it. It's never really let me down. It's been pretty good up till now. But yes, we need a lot of protection underneath, as wheel arches and inside quarter panels tend to get quite a lot of...
How are you going to get to all the rust in here?
Very much so by hand, cleaning it very up by hand, because you can fit your mitten in the hole and clean off stuff like this.
And I need to get some mud flaps eventually, don't I?
Mud flaps will help save this body after we've repaired it, otherwise it's a lot of time and money spent.
I think that is why it's done what it's done, because it didn't have any, and it's exactly behind the wheels, isn't it?
It is. Also, I personally believe that the previous owner washed their top of the vehicle, but not underneath.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you're working a vehicle like they have, you need to make sure everything is clean, so it can breathe rather than sweat and rot.
Yeah. And not spend its life caked in mud.
Yes. But it's all doable. It is all doable, but as you can see, said panel is not actually attached to arch anymore.
No. With that and half the holes where the little clips go, they're missing as well. Like that was a little small hole.
But in all fairness to it, it is a Japanese vehicle and they do like to rush because they seem to be made out of recycled Coke cans. I think it's done fairly well considering the work it's done.
You're being racist, are you, Jake?
I am not, no. I'm just stating that Japanese vehicles do like to corrode a lot.
If it was all like this front bit, it'd be marvellous, wouldn't it?
That's because it's before rear axle.
Anyway, you'll have that next week, maybe, or whenever.
Hopefully,
when we'll have that.
as soon as we can get it in, we will get it in.
Yeah. Because you booked up till when? Till
February next year now.
February 2024.
We are running out of time. There's not enough day hours to go.
Busy boy. Busy boy.